Welcome back, everyone, to Talking It Out with Bachelor Nation. This week, we're catching up with Kelley Flanagan and getting all the info on what she's been up to since her time on The Bachelor back in 2020. Mike, I'm excited to talk to Kelley. What about you?
Every time that I speak to Kelley, I'm honestly amazed. To me, she is epitome of a boss woman that's also sweet, kind, and sincere. So I can't wait to talk to her.
So you're saying Peter?
So I'm saying, let's get into these hot takes, bro. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, bud. So I know, we throw around a bunch of hot take topics before the show, but we came upon these two, and the first one is it wrong for people who feel they're capable of getting a specific or a certain standard or preferred standard of what they're looking for in a significant other to date and only hold out for that standard? So basically, they could possibly be foregoing other potential great candidates. Did I make sense on that question?
Yes.
So basically, you have a standard. You have expectations of the person you want to date, the person you want to marry, maybe have a checklist. I know Rachel, has been well documented that Rachel back in the day, back in her 20s, when she was a young lawyer, she had a checklist, right? And she wanted to find that guy that marked all the boxes. And I know men have that as well. So that's basically the question. Should you stick to your guns and stick to that standard that you've set for yourself? Or should you explore and maybe find somebody that you may be surprised by?
The funny thing about that question, the first thing that comes to my mind is if you were to ask somebody that like if you were to ask your brother or, a girl ask another homegirl or another homie, just in the privacy of their own home, nothing bad will be said. All my girlfriends would be like, girlfriends as in lady friends, they were like, girl, you should have a standard. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. And they would say to all the male friends, like, there's nothing wrong with that. But as soon as you, I feel, say publicly in a public forum, yes, they have to make this much money. They have to have this body type. They have to not have kids. They have to not have been married previously. Whatever the case may be, I feel like that's when people start to have judgment upon that individual. Same exact person, but they can be saying it in a closed setting with their friends, their loved ones. Some of those same loved ones would shun another person for saying it publicly and it'd be incorrect. Now, with that being said, I don't think that you could be like, hey, Life Jenna said this back in 2004, for those that know. You can't be a nickel looking for a dime at the same time.
That is
I'm serious. Now, for those that don't know, somebody gonna get mad that I say this, but I can't. Let's say I'm a Walmart cashier, which I was, by the way. So I'm not coming at nobody. So somebody thinks I'm coming at them. I was a Walmart cashier. I'm not gonna be a Walmart cashier going after Rihanna. It ain't happening. Now,
I mean, you could just don't get mad.
Yeah,
when she rejects you.
Now, I do think that I could get it when I was a Walmart cashier. I was a very confident young man, right?
Confidence
level 10. But at the same
10.
time, if she's like, yo, baby, you got to make at least $500,000 a year to date her. I don't think there's nothing wrong with her saying that because she has a certain standard of living and she intends to maintain that standard of living.
I agree, man. I mean, listen, like when it's all said and done, it's your life. Like if that's your standard, if that's your preference, like you're the one that needs to be happy at the end of the day, right? You need to be attracted to the person physically, mentally, and emotionally. And
spiritually, yes.
Yeah, you could hold off for whoever you want. But like you said, I mean, like you mentioned, I feel like sometimes people have or can have some unrealistic expectations. I mean, you have, some men out there who want a 10 in looks, an independent woman, great cook, freak in the bed, caters to basically every single need. And then dude is like still living with his mom, can't even afford to take this woman out to Chili's. Like just has really nothing going for them. And it's like, okay, man, but what are you bringing to the table? And it goes vice versa, right? Vice versa. It's like, what are you bringing to the table? Like, I think there are levels. And if you're a man or a woman that's wanting to attract a high quality, high valued, and highly wanted significant other,
then sought after human being.
Yeah, then you have to raise your level in order to attract that person. Like, don't get mad at the person because they don't want to give you the time of day and isn't necessarily attracted to you like that. Like, it is what it is.
I was talking to this lady one time, and she was like, Mike, I understand what you guys are saying. Like, you and I've had this conversation with her, and she was like, these guys say that they want XYZ. I am XYZ. And then when I get with them, they can't handle it, and or they don't make her feel comfortable. And I completely understand that aspect to where they're not making her feel comfortable to where she can open up and be like, okay, I'm gonna let you take some of the reins on. You're going to make sure you make money? Are you going to make sure that you do X, Y, Z? Are you going to make sure that you say you're going to do the things that you say you're going to do?
Question. What is the woman saying that she has that the other guys say they want? Like, what are those traits specifically?
Literally everything that you explained. The looks, great career going forward, head on her shoulders, no kids, not married. I don't know, but she presumes that she's a freak in the bed. Everything that you just mentioned. And she says when she gets a guy, they like love it at first, and then they automatically are like, no, I can't, I don't want this, I can't handle this. This is this, and they don't say I can't handle this. What they do is they become more laid back and lackadaisical. And I completely agree with my homegirl. I'm like, yeah, you don't need to be with an individual like that.
I mean, it sounds like she raised some like insecurities in his world.
Exactly. And so all individuals got to realize, male, woman, stop that insecurity crap. When you're dating someone, if you're trying to date someone that's of high value, you got to, have that self-love within self. Another thing, I know that people talk about men when it comes to his height, his height issue. I have lots of male friends that are not 6 feet tall, so they 5'8", they friend zone, right? To me, that's completely unfair. When a woman could do certain things and it's now she feels more comfortable, right? But my friends that are 5'8" would love to feel more comfortable being 6'4", 6'5", or 6'8" and 8, And okay. And the women that do certain things, it's accepted. But if a guy simply wears like platform shoes, it's not accepted. You know what I mean? That's just, to me, it's just crazy. I don't understand. I throw my hands up.
I mean, why do you think that's so, unwanted? I'll tell you the truth. I actually asked one of my patients because that came up the other day. Like, I don't know if it was like a commercial or some ad that came up that was for guys who wanted to be taller. So all these, like you said, 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", they want to get up to that 6 foot level. They would wear these platforms in their shoes. And I asked my patient, which she was a taller woman. She's probably like 5'9", 5'10". And I asked her, I was like, what do you think about guys wearing these shoes to enhance their height, for you to be more attracted to them? And she was like, yeah, no, just be 5'8", king. Like, be your 5'8" self and just go with that. Like, don't front or don't lie about it. Because at the end of the day, what's going to happen, Mike, when they get to back to their place and he basically takes off the lifts? I mean, he's going to drop 3 inches. That's
have
terrible.
You seen that episode on Fresh Prince, bro, where you and I are older? Remember, he was in the basement with a young lady. I forget. I think it was Jennifer Martin. And it was Jennifer Martin. And she had contacts, took contacts out. She had nails. She slapped the nails off. She had weave in her hair. She took the hair.
But I mean, is that a double standard then? You know what I'm saying? Like, if women don't want, but then yet they wear, like you mentioned, the nails, the eyelashes, the hair, whatever it is.
Just for the record, for all the listeners, baby, I ain't mad at you. Get your nails done, get your hair done. Do what you do you, boo-boo. That's all I'm saying. But we have Kelley Flanagan in the house, and I want to talk it out with her and get her takes on this. Let's bring in Kelley. Let's get her thoughts. You'll never guess how much subscription companies charge you every single month. On average, it's nearly $200. But Truebill is your secret weapon to save you money on subscriptions that you just don't need.
Guys, Truebill, it's already downloaded in my phone. It's the new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need, want, or simply forgot about. On average, people save up to $720 per year with Truebill.
I got it myself as well. First time I used it, I saved $123 within 20 minutes. And we all know that companies, this is how they make their money, off subscriptions that are hard to cancel. But Truebill, it makes it so simple for you. Just link your accounts and Truebill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one tap.
And your Truebill concierge is there when you need to cancel unwanted subscriptions, so you don't have to. Truebill has helped me find subscriptions to things I don't even remember signing up for.
Same, man. And the app is simple and easy to use. In fact, Truebill has over 2 million users and has helped them save over $100 million.
Guys, do not fall for the subscription scams. Start canceling today at truebill.com/talkitout. Go right now, truebill.com/talkitout. Listen, it could save you thousands a year. Truebill.com/talkitout. Kelley, welcome. It is so great to have you here on Talking It Out today. It's been a while. How you been?
I've been doing really well. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited.
You've been traveling all over the world, jet setter.
Oh, I know, but it's been fun.
You gonna let a guy use Sky Miles to get you out?
Exactly. You know what? I have a hard time saying no to things. So when I get invited somewhere, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then my body breaks down. I'm like, this is why I can't keep doing this.
Fair. Make sure I remember that. So, Kelley,
God.
here on Talking It Out, we like to ask hot takes, right?
All right.
And our hot take today, it was a little bit hot, but I would love for you to make it steaming hot. And that sounded bad. But try not to be that way whatsoever. First, are you single?
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
She's seeing somebody, but
She's seeing someone, but it's not official. Exactly. So therefore, you can answer this question without them getting mad.
They're fine. Don't worry about it.
They'll be all right.
Cool. Perfect. Can a person have like a standard, and can they speak aloud to that standard? Like, if, for example, you come from a prominent family, I would assume certain things ain't gonna fly in a Flanagan household.
Oh yeah, no, that's for sure. But this is the other thing. If you have high standards, I think that you need to set those standards for yourself too, if that makes sense.
We've been saying that.
Like when you're in a relationship, if you're going to sit here and being like, I expect this, that, and the other, you better be doing the same exact shit that you're telling them to do.
No, yeah. Like what I was saying before, Kelley, is that yes, there are levels. So if you're maintaining a certain level, or if you're looking for a certain level in a certain individual of the opposite sex, you need to uphold that standard as well. Like you need to be attractive to that person as well, right? Whether it be financially, looks wise, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Same sex or opposite sex.
But
opposite sex, yes.
I think that goes to almost every different subject, whether it's like, I don't know, like the same financial aspect, whether it's the same like workout scheme, whether it's the same like intellectual level, whether it's the same like
mentorship level, things of that nature.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a good point.
Also, it's just like you have to be on the same level to some degree. And honestly, this is going to be controversial, but sometimes I believe this. I always believe that the guy has to love the girl a little bit more, because I think it just comes to us a little bit naturally. So if you have a guy that looks at the girl like she's God's gift to earth, I think those relationships always work a little bit better. So if you are a girl out there, strive to be the best you could absolutely be.
Did Peter love you more?
I think he liked me. He like looked up to me. Does that make sense? Like he always like trusted my judgment. He used to say that to me at least.
I'm sure a lot of people look up to you. So that's awesome. Well, yeah. So it comes naturally. I'm gonna pivot and go to that point right there. It comes naturally for women you feel to love easier, and so therefore, if a guy loves you a bit more, then it works out just fine.
Yeah.
You know what? I've heard that before. I mean,
because I just think it comes to girls naturally. Like I think that the girl is just like usually more of the caretaker, caregiver. Like I just think sometimes it comes to them a little bit more natural. So if you have a guy who likes the girl a little bit more, I think it evens out the playing field a little bit.
I don't think that's controversial. I just feel that.
No, what was the initial question? I think I kind of got off topic there.
No, we're going to get off topic at this point.
For example, like a standard, like if you, like some women, some men have a checklist, right? You have a checklist of what you're looking for in a man. Like, is it, and some people might rip you for that. Like you may be giving up opportunities with other great people, great individuals that you may not be considering because, quote unquote, they don't match up to your list. So it's like, is it wrong of you for you to stick to your list and want to have what you want to have rather than, quote unquote, some people might call it settling?
I don't think you should like stick to that. I mean, there's been times where I've dated like really uber smart, successful guys. And then there's like times where I've just dated like normal guys and
okay, he was super hot.
Would you date a 5'9" king?
Sure. Height's actually never been like an issue with me.
Okay, there you go.
One of my exes was probably like 5'10". He was around that. So
She said height, and then he's 5'10". That's the average height in America.
well, like I'm a tall girl. I'm like 5'7". So when you're going
with
to
heels,
5'10",
even taller.
yeah, he used to hide them.
Kelley, is it okay if guys wear platform shoes?
I mean, it all depends. Like if you have the white sneakers that have like a teeny bit of platform, I have no issue with that.
No,
we're talking about like the insoles.
And they bought some insoles.
Like they put insoles to go from 5'10" to 6 feet, let's say.
If no one
lifts.
Can, I don't
They're
mind.
called lifts.
Like if it makes you feel better, why not?
So I think that's I agree with that, but I feel like so many people will shun the dude for doing something that makes him feel better and gives him a bit more confidence. But he can't shun that woman for her doing something that gives her more confidence. So I appreciate you on saying that.
I have no issue with that. But I will tell you something. So when I was like back before the show, there was a guy who I like genuinely enjoyed spending time with. And he was just like a normal guy, but my brothers did not like it. And they went freaking ballistic on me, like ballistic.
Wait, why? Why didn't they like him?
Because so like there's a stigma towards certain jobs. And this guy was like a smart guy. He did pharmaceutical sales. Like he didn't really drink, but he was also he was like a bouncer at a nightclub in Chicago, like one of the guys to like come let you in and stuff. So my brothers, like, that's all they knew. You know what I mean? They're like, what are you doing dating one of the door guys at like this nightclub, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I swear he doesn't drink. He's really nice. He's also in pharmaceutical sales, but like, they just couldn't hear that.
Was it more of like a financial thing or just because like that's the occupation? All they hear is they see.
I think it was the stigma, right? Like being a door guy.
They're probably like, oh, every hot chick that's walking through, he's picking up their number.
It's a revolving door, Mike, possibly. That's what they were thinking.
I kind of agree with your brothers. Now, my homeboys that are personal trainers, they're going to get mad at me, but I think there's like certain occupations to where I'm going to tell my sister to be careful. Like personal trainers, bartenders. I would say the bartender over like the bouncer dude. And then a lot of one that girls don't think about. Barbers and like coaches. And the reason is they be getting a lot of single women to come up in their chair cutting their little boy's head. And they automatically like have a different level of like trust. Like, oh my God, my son loves you.
Wait, like a barber or
like a barber. Like someone cutting your hair. Or
like a hairdresser. Like ones that are usually working on females or males?
That too. Hairdressers, they in the same category. I
love that response, but I can't necessarily tell you why, but I love that.
Oh my Kelley, come on. It's just you and I talking. Bryan ain't here right now. What's up? She's like, I'm not gonna do it.
Not getting into it.
No, if you're a barber, a hairdresser, a little league soccer coach, like a little league coach for kids, and the single moms right there, bartender, bouncer, and or personal trainer, I'm gonna tell my sister to be careful. So I agree with your brothers on that. I'm sorry.
All right, we'll see.
I haven't thought about that one. I definitely.
I trust your judgment, Kelley. If you vetted them out, you asked all the right questions.
This was a while ago. It was.
Looking back, did you make the right decision by letting him go?
Yeah. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. He treated me so well. He was like the nicest guy in the world. I was doing like subconscious things that I didn't even realize I was doing. Like I wouldn't necessarily go in public with him, which I didn't really realize I was doing. He'd be like, let me take you to dinner. And I'd be like, no, like, let's just come over and we'll like cook at my house. So I was doing subconscious things knowing it wasn't going to work out, but I didn't even realize I was doing those things. And my roommates were like, dude, you've been seeing this guy for 2 months and you won't step out of the house with him. Like he was like getting me stretch limos to the airport whenever I'd like, he was so sweet. He was so kind. But I just like knew it wasn't it.
Bryan, have you done that before?
No, but I want to know like what was it then? Like what was it that just made you drop him?
You know what? There's been 2 guys in my life that are like that. Well, not him, but there's another guy that came in that was like the perfect catch. Like he was fantastic. He was obsessed with me. He loved me, like great on paper. And I just couldn't get into it. till this day, I still can't explain to you why, because I will be his biggest hype person. I'll be like, that guy's great. He's amazing. I just personally do not know why I did not like him like that.
It's kind of like an X factor. Like some people just don't have that it factor that I've experienced something similar. I've dated women amazing on paper, great families, the whole nine. It's just, I don't know. They just don't bring it out of you, I guess. I don't know. It's just something that's missing.
Did you like him in bed, Kelley?
I did, but this is what happened was so his buddies, God, I don't want to go into too much detail here, but his buddy, I drove up to him. He lived like 2 hours away. We flew on a plane to like Minnesota for a concert, flew back, and then was at his place. And I realized like I didn't even want to kiss this guy. I had to spend the night at his house instead of driving back to Chicago. So I realized that I was just pretending that I was so exhausted and I just needed to go to bed, and like that my contacts were messed up and I was just like pure exhausted. And I was like, okay, good night, and literally just pretended to sleep.
I'm not gonna lie, I've done that myself. I feel you there. I've definitely done that one. You been there, Bryan?
Falling asleep, yeah. Yeah, didn't want to partake in any activities. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I think that's like an energy thing.
Yeah. It wasn't even like that. I just was like, I had too much time with him. I was like, okay, like enough with me being like, hey, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Like it just wasn't real. And I was like kind of tired of.
So it was like very superficial?
Kind of on my end. Like he was great. Like he was really great, but I was like, I'm just not feeling this. And so I just like the only thing I wanted to do was go home and be in my bed, but I couldn't. So.
Ouch. Sucks for him.
He's like married now, so he's good.
Fair enough.
All right, Kelley. So from your IG, it looks like your life has no shortage of fun. Where are you living right now?
I'm in Miami.
Currently. The 305. That's my hometown.
Actually, I know that. And the reason I know that is because I've been having like so many health issues recently. And I just went to a chiropractor and she looked at me. She's like, why do you look so familiar? And like sometimes when I'm just not feeling well, it's the last thing I want to talk about is like being on the show. Of course, and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, I was on a reality TV show. And she was like, actually, she was like, one of those guys, Bryan, used to worked in this building, like a couple stories up.
Super small
small world. So what's up with law? Are you still practicing law?
No. So I took a back burner on it. And the reason why is because I've been having so many health issues. And probably like a year ago when I started being like, all right, I need to like just stop everything and just like try to figure out what the hell is going on with me. So I kind of took a step back from that and did more of like the influencing stuff while I try to figure this out. And here I am, like I'm, call it 75% of the time fine. I'm traveling, I'm having fun with my friends. And then 25% of the time I get like hit like a ton of bricks. So that's why I kind of took a step back from law. I mean, I don't know if I might go back into it, but maybe not like with my family's firm. Like I think I could do something else with my law degree, but for right now I'm not doing law.
Can you speak to that? You mentioned like 75% of the time you're great, 25% of the time hit with a ton of bricks. We know that you've been very open and vocal in regards to Lyme disease. Is that what you're speaking of?
Yeah. So it's just like, and it sets my autoimmune issues off. So the past like week, my entire face was like completely blown up. I'll be like allergic to just about everything. Like it's so many autoimmune things. Like one day it's tired. One day I just feel like complete shit. Another day, like my face is blowing up. Like within the past 2 years, my weight has fluctuated by like 20 pounds within a couple weeks span. Not just by like me eating and, I barely drink. So it's not like a drinking thing either, but it's just like hard to know what's hitting me, when it's hitting me. Like, I just never know. There's no consistency, I just keep getting hit. Like this past week, I've been allergic to something in my apartment. I couldn't figure it out. So like I went and got a new mattress. I've been to the chiropractor. I was getting acupuncture. I was like ripping up my brand new carpet to like put it away. I was like ripping up my couch behind me because there was like feathers in it. Like, it's just so crazy how sensitive I am to so many things. And my body just like is so much more sensitive than the average person. So whether it's like me going out with my girlfriends, like their stamina, like staying out and like doing a bunch of fun things is way better than mine. You know, I'm going to wake up that next day and I'm like, I'm not going to move. So right now is just a period of me like trying to truly figure it out. And yeah.
When did you like, when were you diagnosed with it? Like, who was the provider that actually found out that you had Lyme disease?
So I went through Igenics, and you know what, I've since like 4th grade, I've always had weird issues. Again, I have 5 siblings, so it was like good to kind of compare notes with them, but I've always had like stomach issues, and I was like, what is going on? And then when I came off the show, or actually when I went on the show or right before it, I remember I literally looked like 9 months pregnant, and I was like working out for 2 hours a day with the trainer. I was like running 5 miles at night. Like I was super active. I've done CrossFit. I've done it essentially like every workout. And I was like, what is going on with this weight? Like I literally look pregnant, and I couldn't figure it out. And then after the show, I think just like bringing on so much stress from that, not necessarily like a bad way, but you guys know, like it's a huge transition. I think sometimes I had a hard time just transitioning into that. And I think that like also put a lot of stress in my body. And then, yeah, just like the scenario, the breakup, the publicity, the show aspect, the fan aspect, I think it just all kind of like knocked me down and drained me. And then finally I was like, all right, this is getting way worse than it has been before. So that's kind of, I think it was in October. I was like, all right, I got to figure out what the heck this is.
This past October 2021?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was pretty recent. Thank you for sharing that as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Just in caring for you, what are some of the things that you do to get away from all the bullshit, all the exterior stuff?
Honestly, I like my alone time to a certain degree. You know, I'll go on, like, I have no issue like being by myself. Like lately, every morning I've been waking up, I've been going to the ocean and like swimming for 45 minutes by myself. I'll come home. Some days I'll do Pilates. Some days I'll like go on my walks around the beach here, like through Brickell, and just kind of like exploring new territory that I don't really know. So I think it's just like doing things that I love in that aspect, whether it's like watching a show. I'm hooked on a new reality show called Life After Locked Up.
Yeah, I know the show.
It's way more dramatic than the show we went on. So,
have you wrote somebody a letter before in jail?
No. Have you?
No, I haven't, but I'm asking. I don't know. Maybe you have. I
don't think that's my thing. You know, but I used to do criminal defense when I was in law school. So I used to actually have to go to the jail and essentially defend people, or attempt to. And it was pretty scary.
What was the craziest case that you've experienced?
I was working with a guy whose nickname was Crowbar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crowbar.
Yeah. But like, if you would never be able to wear anything like this. So like, I would have to wear things like turtleneck. Up here. Yeah. I would have to wear socks that like weren't showing any type of my feet.
Could your hair be out?
Yeah, it could be out, but like I needed every single part of my body covered when I would go through. And then because think about it, they don't really see females. And like one of them asked my professor if like he could stop bringing me. He was like, listen, I haven't like really like seen a girl or like smelt a girl like that. And he was like, I just don't want to deal with it. So I was essentially fired from working on that one.
I have so many thoughts for that, but okay. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. You are a tax attorney, is that correct?
Yeah, we do property tax appeals for commercial real estate stuff. So essentially just cutting taxes on massive buildings.
Oh, I'm definitely calling you out when I do that. 100%.
We don't do residential though. We only do commercial. So it's like
I'm talking about commercial.
He's talking about commercial.
I'm talking commercial.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I'm talking
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah,
I didn't know you were getting into that.
We got to talk offline. Anyway, so I was on your website, kelleyflanagan.com, and I was reading some of the resources that you have. I really appreciate that. And so can you explain a little bit to what are some things that people that would like to know more about Lyme disease, or what you've learned about Lyme disease?
Yeah. So I didn't really know what it was, but it affects essentially everyone differently. So my brother, who was super healthy his whole life, he was like a couple months away from being in a wheelchair. Like he was coming to work so my brothers are also hunters. So I think I've had it my entire life. I think maybe one of my other brothers has, but my other brother, who was completely healthy, he definitely got bit by a tick when he was like hunting at our family farm like a year ago. And it came on to him so strong that like he was trying to walk to work, which was a couple of blocks, and he was like falling, and his like knees were deteriorating, like the muscles in him. Wow. And he like wasn't telling any of us. He's like, hey, something's wrong. But he like had that macho ego thing going on to him where he didn't want to be like, hey, I'm struggling to walk. Yeah. Because he just didn't want it to be a big deal. So it's like affected him. With me, it's been more like digestive issues. It's been more like just like blowing up, like thyroid issues, stuff like that. So what I've learned is it just essentially like attacks your autoimmune system, and it affects everyone so differently that it's like hard to really even come to the consensus that it is Lyme. And again, like you could, if you figure out a way, you could, I don't know, if I personally don't think it's controversial that you could like get rid of it, but you could essentially turn off those sensors for that like virus to be running in your system. So people can go into remission. And, you know, they just have to be a little bit more sensitive their whole life in terms of the way they live, and can't live like a total slob. Because
when
then
you
it's
say turn off their sensors, what do you mean exactly?
So, you know, your body's like filled with a bunch of like different bacteria and viruses and all of that stuff. So when you have Lyme and it's like prevalent, like for example, Lyme feeds off of like carbohydrates and sugar and all that stuff. So if you starve your body from feeding the Lyme, like it could go into remission. But if you're like sitting there having like your Lyme super bad and you're going and eating a bunch of chocolate and sugar and all that stuff, like the Lyme's going to get stronger because you're feeding it the sources that it likes.
So have you, like, what other types of holistic practices have you partaken in, you know, to help you with your Lyme disease? I imagine your diet has changed dramatically, maybe to like a keto diet, it's low in sugar or, you know, carbohydrates or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've definitely changed diet. I've always been pretty healthy because again, like I think this has happened since I was younger, and I always knew that like I couldn't go and eat like the Taco Bell and all that stuff all the time because it would affect me so poorly. But the biggest thing that I've seen is actually acupuncture. So like, when I went in the other day, like my face was so swollen. It swells so bad that I get these like massive wrinkles down here because my face just gets so like chunky. Like right now it's still a little bit swollen, but she just like took a bunch of needles and was like sticking me everywhere. And I don't know if that's opening things up or if it's getting into like deeper layers of things that are off, but yeah, it helps me. So that's like one big thing that I did notice. And then I have like lasers of infrared lights, so I'll like have to laser certain body points on me. What else do I have? I have an oxygen tank here. I have like one of those machines that shakes. I have like the works. I have like everything.
Yeah, sound like it. Well,
yeah. A little clinic in your place.
Trying to tell you. Well, happy to know that you got the works going on. You know, so you're doing everything that you can in your power, which, of course, you are. For anyone that knows you, I want to get a little bit into Kelley pre-TV, right?
Okay.
Is it fair to say that you come from like an affluent family?
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay. Fair. Okay, cool. I've just wanted to know, like, how has that twofold question? How has that shifted your perspective? And like, you're such a traveler, you're so accomplished within life. You come from an affluent family. How has that shifted you in terms of your thinking when it comes to just the outside world and those individuals that may not be from an affluent family? And then two, what do you want people to know about someone that comes from like an affluent family? Because I know a lot of people she's beautiful, she comes from this, you know, this, and they kind of almost count you out because of things that were out of your control and because of things that you worked your ass off of. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
No, to be honest, I think I've had the best of both worlds because one, my mom came from absolutely nothing. She was from Greece, like played with lamb bones as toys. And she is the least like materialistic person you'll ever meet. And then my dad also really didn't come from anything, but he was able to make, you know, a lot of success for himself. So they both kind of had like the foundation of not being like spoiled brats. my dad definitely kind of grew into that. You know, he would like go get his like hair done, his nails done, like loved going to the spa. And then you have my mom who like lives at like TJ Maxx, Ross's, Home Depot, Walmart, like only gets her hair cut at Walmart. Now forces my dad to get his hair cut at Walmart. Like my dad
has
like,
a hair cuttery.
Yes, bro.
I don't even know. I don't even know.
Down here in the Keys. So it's been great because I've been exposed to things that like people strive for in terms of like going, whether it was like a boarding school. You know, I've met so many people who have just had like really cool upbringings and really great stories. Like a lot of my friends have been from like the Middle East or from China or like, again, all over the world. And I was able to do that because my parents did send me to that boarding school where there's a like, you just learn so much because whether it's like the Korean girls teaching you how to make soup or like the Middle Easterns, like teaching you all about their traditions. Like I definitely learned at a young age just that, you know, people are different and learn how to like respect their differences and like appreciative of it. And you also learn during the way, like what you want when you travel, when you do that stuff. So, I mean, I've been like really grateful, but at the same time, my parents have also put a lot of pressure into me. And I've also seen like where I've grown up in Florida, it's this small community and a lot of people have had a lot of success that come from that area. But the majority of the kids that I actually grew up with there, their parents raised them different. And I've noticed that like, they're not as hardworking as a lot of other people. So yeah, they might have had the opportunities and seen like a lot of really cool things. But one thing my parents like tried to ingrain with us is like, hey, look, we're not going to do it for you. Like, if you want to be successful in your own right, like you better work your ass off and get there. And that's like one of the best things that, you know, I could thank my parents for putting that pressure on us to essentially say like, hey, like, instead of like, here's a check, they're like, okay, now go work your ass off and you figure it out.
Like initially, were you upset that they sent you to boarding school? And then after the fact, you were like, you know what, it was so worth it and I learned so much and I'm actually happier for that?
You know what, it wasn't necessarily even my parents. It's like when I'm the youngest of 6 kids and we're all a year apart, like since 4th grade, I knew I was going to boarding school. And it wasn't like, they didn't like push me. They didn't say you have to go. But I think I put pressure on myself knowing that every single one of my other siblings went. And if I wasn't going to be the one to go, it was like, disappointing myself. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like my parents were pressuring me to be like, hey, look, you have to go. But when I got there, like, man, sometimes I struggled when I was younger. Like I was a little troublemaker at times, you know, like each dorm had a
really, we can never tell.
each dorm had like a dorm mom, and sometimes like she would be running down the hall and I'd be like, I effing hate this place, get me the hell out of here. And she would be like, oh my God, Kelley. And like sometimes she would see me, we would have to walk to town, which was like a 15-20 minute walk. I was always the one like trying to figure out crafty ways to get in town. There was like an Amish guy with his horse and buggy and I was like hitchhiking on him and my counselor's like in the car behind me like, what are you doing? But yeah, so we always kept it entertaining for her, that's for sure.
You kind of touched on something that I definitely wanted to ask you, because being the youngest of 6 and coming from a prominent family, like a lawyer family, like y'all are, I've done my research on your family. Y'all are some pretty badasses, like all of y'all y'all own right. Like I think y'all are pretty awesome, right? The things that y'all do. But with that, I know there had to be some dark times, some tough times with the pressure that you put on yourself and just trying to live up to the Flanagan name, I guess you would say. Like, can you explain some of those and how you got through those?
Yeah, my brothers are still hard on me to this day. You know, they have like high expectations for me and my sister. But honestly, I've never like put so much pressure on myself. Like, you know, I've always been the one, I'm the youngest, so I've always just gotten my ass kicked from them, but I've always had my own voice and my own opinion. So if they come at me, like I'm willing to stand up for myself. But I don't know, maybe it's more of a subconscious thing where I just like knew I had to do a lot, but at the same time, like I never put so much pressure on myself where I was like breaking myself down. You know, I was like taking every step of the way. I was never like a big drinker. So when I was younger, I wasn't like making a fool of myself and like being an idiot. Then I was like going off to law school. So what could they not be proud of? They weren't the proudest of me going on the show, but then they got over it. Now they are. But
Wait, what did they say when you went on the show?
oh man, it was like a family feud. One, my mom's like a huge fan of the show, and she's big on like just do everything. So my mom was like, do it, you should do it. And my brothers are like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, don't do that. You're gonna ruin your career. You're an absolute idiot. Like, what are you thinking? Like, just down my throat telling me that I'm an idiot every day. And I was like, sounds great.
I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah, I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Well, talk about that. I mean, after the show, how has your life changed and how does your brothers see you now? I feel like they see you the same.
So they respected me, and they're like, one of my brothers was down. I remember he was down my throat, and this was like the only time he actually made me cry. Cause usually I'm like not the biggest crier. And he was like, you don't know how this show goes. Like, what about if you go on the show and you get super fucked up and you start making all these like things and you're doing all this? And I was like, I barely drink. Like, how out of hand can I get? Like, you guys know I'm as chill as could be. Like, I'm not the dramatic girl who's like going off every 2 seconds. And I was like, do you even know me? So it like offended me because I was like, how could he even say that about me? Now doing the show, I'm like, shit, it doesn't even matter how I act. I could have been portrayed anyway. But yeah, so my life has definitely changed. Again, I just had the luxury of essentially not going to the office from 9 to 5 and doing a job like that. Like now I have a lot more freedom, which is also nice because working with 4 of your siblings could be super, super stressful, especially being the youngest.
Oh, I could never.
Yeah, especially being the youngest. Like it was almost like sometimes, you know, it was new. And then they just felt like, oh, she's the little sister. We could be like so open and honest with her that they were like kind of hard on me to the point where I was like, God, like, I know this stage of the game isn't fulfilling and I'll get there. But then after doing the show, I was like, screw this. I'm going to do influencing. I'm going to figure out my health. I have time to do that. Like financially, I could do that on my own. And like, you guys can't say a damn word. So, yeah, it's definitely been a massive transition from going from a 9 to 5 in Chicago with my whole family to essentially like living my life and doing as I please. Yeah.
So are you happy that you went on?
Yeah. You know what I always say? I would never regret it. I don't regret it. I don't regret any experience in life though. Like whether it's dating someone, whether it's like traveling to a weird place, whether it was like an experience, I always try to view it in a positive light and say like whether it was good or bad, it was an experience and you learn from it.
So speaking of you never regret anything you did, but obviously I feel like you had a very unique journey because prior to the show, you had actually met your ex, Peter, and then you guys, you know, you were obviously, you went home during the season and then you dated after the fact. Like, how do you wrap that around, you know, how do you think about that when you analyze how everything went down?
I mean, now I just kind of laugh at it. Like, listen to that, you know, it's not normal. It was like, what the hell happened? I don't even know. But it definitely went in a lot of different ways and twists and turns. And
hey, what love story is normal? Yeah,
exactly. You know, you're always going to go through tough times. But hey, like we had fun, and again, it was an experience, and it was a lot of twists and turns. But it is what it is.
If you weren't seeing someone now, could you ever see yourself dating someone in the Bachelor franchise, or never again with that show?
I never say like never to anyone. Like you genuinely don't know who you're going to like until you meet them in person is my thoughts.
Sure.
I don't know. Like there's been, for some reason, the way that I view guys in Bachelor Nation are like more like brothers.
I have said that myself before.
You know what I mean? Like even when I didn't even really know Clay, and like Clay was in Chicago, and I would like see him for the first time, I felt like one, I already knew him because we went through like a same experience, but 2, it's just like, he just felt like a brother. Like I was inviting him to go to like Pilates, and like, I was like, come to Pilates. And he's like, all right. But in terms of like all the other guys that I've met in Bachelor Nation, I just kind of feel that way about them now.
I definitely see that. So you just mentioned, hey, Clay, I invited you to Pilates, which by the way, Clay, if you're listening, your picture today, homie, phenomenal.
What was it?
Mike always getting motivation from these dudes in Bachelor Nation.
I hate when people don't show love to homies. Like, I show love to you, Kelley. I said your nails look awesome. Clay body is like 10 times 10 right now, right?
Yeah.
Which it always is.
You know, Clay doesn't think that he's like bigger than the norm. Like, this guy is probably like 6'4", and like when you're with him in public, he's just like huge.
He's a big.
And he was telling me, okay, him and I he moved to Miami for a little bit, and him and I like went on a walk and we like grabbed dinner, and the waiter was like asking Clay about like how much he benches and stuff like that, and Clay was like kind of confused.
How much do you bench?
Clay was like kind of confused. I was like, do you not realize that like you are bigger than the average person? And he legit does not think that way. Like, he just thinks he's like a normal average looking size dude.
I mean, you got to feel him from
Definitely
his perspective, though. He's been big all his life, and he was in the NFL for 9 years, and so most NFL players are also going to be big as well. So what he's accustomed to is him, just big dudes. Well, Bryan and I were going back and forth with this question. It was a hot take that we were going to use, but I want to ask you because you brought it up, inviting Clay to do Pilates. Even though it wasn't a date, I want to make sure people know it wasn't a date.
Yeah.
Let's not start rumors now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to make sure, right? Clay probably wouldn't get mad. But Clay the homie, I can say that. But if a dude invited you, let's say first date, to go work out with him, he's like, hey, Kelley, would you like to go to Pilates? How do you feel about that?
Depends on who the guy is. Like, with
someone that's not a brother, someone that you would consider.
The original question was, as a woman, would you be offended if a man asked you out on a first date to go to the gym?
Yeah, probably wouldn't be my like most ideal setting.
Like, what would your thought process be?
It's almost like they're friend zoning themselves there.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I never looked at it that way.
Yeah. Because you're like taking the romance out of it, and like the first date, like there's got to be something where you could like, I don't know. I just think going to the gym takes it's like friend zoning yourself a bit.
What if it was like a little bit more intimate, like maybe like a hike or something, or
yeah, that would be better. I mean?
Maybe he takes his shirt off. You're physically attracted to him. I don't know.
And then you could like sit down and like drink your water, but like talk and
have
like,
a picnic or something.
Said, drink your water.
That's way better.
If it was Clay, he's definitely taking his shirt off, which I would do it too if I was him.
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I would do it too if I was in his position. So I feel like I know the answer, but we still got to ask. If ever, could you see yourself going on Bachelor in Paradise?
I don't know.
I feel like you just wake up in a more spur of the moment, like, hey, you know what?
You know what? I kind of am. That's exactly how I work. And it sounds so cheesy, but I'm more of the person where like, if I'm supposed to do something, you'll just tell me. Like, I've gone through my entire life like that, and somehow like it works out. I don't really stress about things like that. I don't really think, like, people even ask me right now, they're like, what's your next move? Like, right now you're doing influencing stuff. I'm like, I don't know. Like, maybe something will just come my way and I'll figure it out. But I've always lived that way, and it's just like always worked out.
I mean, you did mention that a lot of the Bachelor Nation guys are kind of like brothers. You consider them brothers. I mean, is there anybody out there that you would be interested in getting to know a little bit better, possibly on the beach? Like anybody that you've seen?
This is one issue I have with the Bachelor guys.
Ooh, okay.
So this is like a trend that I've noticed is these guys go on the show, and I'm going to be honest, like being a girl and a guy in this scenario is a bit different. Like, usually a lot of girls that go on the show have like gotten attention their entire life from being like a standout woman.
I know what you're going to say.
I know
like,
it too.
And these guys are just usually like normal ass dudes who girls aren't necessarily fighting over them, maybe, but like they're just not used to that attention. And then I think that when they get off the show, like these girls are swarming, like these fans, to be with these guys that they just their ego goes to the roof, but their temptations, like they can't resist holding back. It's like hard for them to be in relationships.
Is there anybody in particular that you're speaking of? Like, are there any names of somebody that fits that description?
I think there's a bunch that I can name.
Have you dated any in the past?
Name two.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
So are you saying you want to be like, bro, who cares if you're on a TV show? You still ain't shit.
They just need to be off the show for like a reasonable time to like get used to it, and then maybe like their ego will go down. But like the second they got off that show,
they think they're hot shit.
See,
yeah.
I've actually said that. I'll say it on air. I've said it off air. I've said they need to pick. I was talking about leads. I was like, you need to pick a lead that can actually get a girl, like without this like 90% steroid boost. And there was a reason I said it, because once they get off the show, it's the exact same thing that you said.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, damn, were you there? Like, are you centered in yourself enough to be able to handle this newfound fame, per se? Because they always say, judge a man when he has nothing, judge a man when he has everything, judge a woman when her man has nothing, right? And I completely agree with you there. And I'm a man that's from this show.
Yeah.
100%.
I think it wouldn't have affected someone like Tyler Cameron as much.
Okay. Because so you're saying that since he is, an attractive guy who probably could get,
I think Tyler's probably been hooking up with hot chicks his whole life. So I don't think he needs to like go to the degree to be like hooking up with every little fan that's giving him attention. He's like in a whole nother caliber.
Gotcha.
Am I wrong on that?
No, I can totally see and understand where you're coming from.
I think guys, not just in The Bachelor, I think this was too hot to handle as well. Because I think some guys just ain't got no game whatsoever. And they personally don't look the best either, except to a small subgenre of people, which Tyler and I have had that conversation before.
And then they go on the show.
And then they go on the show, and then boom, there's one subgenre of people like you exponentially, but outside of that genre of people, they don't know who you are. I was just in NASCAR. I know not one of them NASCAR drivers, like not one. Yeah. But those girls that know them, it's different.
I'm just curious. I'm sure you've told this story before, but what do you felt went wrong in your past relationship? Like what was the downfall of that relationship?
With me and Peter?
Yeah, with you and Peter.
You know what? I don't think it was like one specific thing. I think it was just a lot of little things. You know what? Peter and I had a lot of fun, but I don't know if like I looked up to him in a way that I wanted to like look up to like my spouse. Does that make sense?
Can you explain?
Yeah, like I kind of have this with like my brothers or my dad, but like if I'm in a moment where I need some sound advice and I'm like, okay, who can I go to like advise me on this super important decision of my life? Like Peter was just like fun and games, it was kind of just like I could go with him and have fun, but I just think I want more of like a man that I look up to.
I'm intrigued. I get you on that. So I mean, basically when you had these important life decisions to make, I mean, he just wasn't somebody that you could go to and like you could confide in him, but he would just not give you the advice that you were looking for? Or
I guess so. I guess I just didn't like, and again, like it wasn't big things. There was a lot of little things, but I guess I just didn't look up to Peter in the way that I have always hoped to look up to my husband.
What qualities do you look for?
Someone who's like super intelligent that could teach me things, like something new every day. I really
Aviation?
Peter actually was really smart when it came to aviation. He used to teach me a lot. Like when we would go and fly around or whatever, like Peter is smart, but I don't know. I think I just need someone a little bit more serious natured.
What was your relationship with Barb?
Barb and I were great. Barb actually loved me. And then towards the end, I think it just was getting a little bit uncomfortable. But, I have all the respect for her. I wish her well. We don't really communicate, which is fine by me. But I hope both of them are doing well. I haven't heard from them. I haven't talked to them. I don't really know.
I got a question for you. I want to go back to what you were saying about and I agree with you about, and you could have been talking about me, I'm still agree with it, even though that ain't me, I feel. But what advice do you have for guys and gals that are going on the show and are going on other shows, particularly when it comes to love shows, and then they get off the show?
There's no advice I could really give to just, I don't think you could ever like, whatever is going to happen and it's out of your hands. So at the end of the day, just be yourself. Every scenario that you do could be turned into something. So at the end of the day, you could only be yourself and pray for the best.
And speaking of Paradise and The Bachelor and, friends and brothers, we see you hanging out with a lot of girls from Bachelor Nation. Like, who from your season are you really close with?
Kelsey, definitely. I talk to Kelsey every single day, and Victoria. I feel like us became just a little dangerous trio together.
Yeah, we saw you at Coachella.
Yeah, me, Kelsey, and Victoria we have a lot of fun together, and we have a lot of banter together that maybe not many people understand, but like when we're together, we're just constantly like giving each other crap or just like, I don't know, making fun of each other. But at the end of the day, like we all know we have each other's back. So it's a cool friendship to have because I know I could rely on them for just about everything.
That's what's up. I love that. I won't ask you what's next for Kelley, but I will ask you, here on Talking Now, we love to drop a gem and learn something from all of our guests. A gem is something that, just something that you live by, a quote that you heard that inspires you, something of that nature. So what gem would you have for us?
I was trying to come up with one. Oh, this one was kind of good. I said, a person in 2 minutes could make you feel what a person in 2 years couldn't. Time means nothing. Character does.
Facts.
Felt that one.
Preach. Love that. Well, Kelley, we appreciate having you on, and much success in your journey. All the things that you do. I'm always here. Brian's always here to reach out to. You got plenty of people to reach out to in regards to your Lyme disease diagnosis, and I want to see you extremely happy with this new person that you got in your life.
Oh,
is there potential? I mean, could it possibly get serious here?
Yeah, it's been going on for a while.
Okay. Happy for you.
Yeah, and he's a great dude. Great dude. Some people have already called me out. Some people have like DM'd me and saw me on dates and all that stuff. But
and he teaches you a lot of things and
very smart.
Okay.
Very. Oh God, I wish I could tell you guys. But one of his nicknames. No, I can't even say that. Never mind.
Why not? Come on.
He's just let's just say he's a very like serious natured person, and I guess he's like known for that.
Can we expect a soft launch, hard launch soon, maybe?
You know what? He's an extremely, extremely private person. So I'm trying to just take it easy, see where things go.
I have a question for you.
I respect that. I respect that.
Yeah.
So and now I'm looking because I have a couple of guys in mind when you mentioned what you mentioned earlier. Like I see a mirage right here. Mm-hmm. How do you feel if those same guys say, well, Bryan, Mike, I heard Kelley come on the podcast and say a lot of these guys, a lot of us just sleep around with all the fans, right? What about the girls that just go after the NFL players or go after these super rich guys?
Oh, God. It's not the same. Like, and by the way, like, I'll call out some of the guys that I'm like friends with. Like, if I'll hear rumors about them, I'll be like, what are you doing over there? Like, I heard this, that, and the other. But I mean, what? Just because you're successful, like these girls might be going for successful guys, but that doesn't mean that's not on the same level. Like if you told me like that all the girls were going around sleeping with all these fans, sure, that's on the same level. But you can't say just because they're dating NFL guys, NHL guys, or whatever, that they're on the same level. Like they
leveled up apparently.
They
leveled up.
But not only that, like, I think Kelsey's been pretty open about not having sex for 2 years, but if she goes and dates a guy that like might be known, I don't think that's the same degree as the guys going and sleeping with a bunch of fangirls.
Fair enough.
Is that what these single dudes are doing out there, Mike?
Now I also do know a bunch of girls in Bachelor Nation that aren't innocent themselves too, you know, that are like on the same savage level as a bunch of the guys.
I wasn't even gonna say it. Let you say it. I wasn't gonna say it as a dude because I don't want people coming at me, but you're a lady, you can say it.
Not at all. I know a lot of those stories too.
No, you know what, Mike? We were actually going to have that as a hot topic. Like, is it, you know, we hear about the whole fuckboy, you know, stories and all that, but is it okay for a woman to go through that, through a
guys? I think
promiscuous.
I think that some girls are way worse than the guys are.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
They just keep it a little quieter, maybe.
I guess so. I mean, they're not my friends, but I do know the ones that are doing that. And it just gets messy and dramatic, and I don't know, not worth it. But
not worth it. I have so much. That would be offline conversation.
Oh, go, hit me.
Hit her with it, Mike. Come on.
That's offline.
We're talking it out.
It's just because I like Kelley's mindset. Kelley don't give a fuck. Like,
yeah, she's very open. I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah, so like Kelley can get me to say some stuff because like she's gonna speak about it. But no, I don't have nothing to say to that. I just agree with on both sides of the house. I'm glad you said it because I wasn't gonna say the woman part because you know Bachelor Nation people be coming at us.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama around it.
But it's true though. It's definitely true though. Do you feel?
And those DMs, from what I know, they work.
Yeah,
for both sides.
They work.
Both men and women.
I'm sure for the guys. I don't know many of the guys, but I do know the girls, and it definitely works. Matt James. Never mind. It's
wait. Whoa! You just can't throw that name out and just not say anything. Hold on. You're saying like women sliding into a man's DMs or a man sliding into a woman's? Okay.
Yeah, Matt James was taking one of my girlfriend's phones and just like messing around and DMing people, and it was pretty successful. Yeah. We're like, we didn't even know this, and he's like, there you go.
There you go. I got it for you.
What? Tell me.
It's just so much to this topic.
I thought she was going somewhere totally different with that. But I was like, okay, that's not.
No, I would have pressed end. I would have pressed end right here. Yeah, Matt James is definitely a solid wingman for sure on that. I think there's a double standard sometime, and then also with that being said, we had Rachel Lindsay on Brian's wife last week. I love what she said. She said, "I don't really give a damn what you did before me, as long as when you're with me, you're amazing to me." I love that, but then also there's like the whole nother side. Like if I know your whole story. Boo, it don't look that good for you, you know.
Wait,
which is
what did Rachel say?
Basically, there was a question that if you were just meeting a guy for the first time, you were on the first date, and was that he had cheated in a previous relationship?
Yeah, I believe that's what you said. Yeah.
So he basically told you that from Jump Street. Like, would that be a red flag for you, and would that be a deal breaker? Like, oh, he cheated on his ex. I don't want anything to do with him. How would you feel?
I don't think it would be a deal breaker, but I definitely think it would be a red flag.
I want to get your thoughts on this from a woman's perspective. Like I saw some post the other day, like some guy was complaining about women that they're always saying, oh, there's no good men out there. But then yet they probably have like 1,000 dudes in their DMs that are left on unread or on read, and they don't even speak to them. And it's like these are possible eligible bachelors who are dying to take these women out, and they don't even get the time of day. And then they're saying that there's no good men out there. Can you talk on that?
You're not wrong. It's actually, it's funny. I was at this wedding recently, and there was this guy that his way of hitting on me was one of the funniest things. He's like, hey, listen. He's like, where are you these days? I was like, Miami. He was like, well, if you're ever looking for a mediocre life in Columbus, Ohio, you know who to call. And I was like, you know what? I appreciate that. I appreciate that selling point. So now he just like messages me all the time. And he's like, hey, look, like, again, like if Ohio, resonates for you and just like maybe a kiddie pool in the backyard, like, I got you covered.
I actually love that. I love that.
How many, like on average, like especially maybe some of the women that are coming off the show, like how many DMs from guys do you get on a daily or weekly basis? Just curious.
Not many. Like, again, I feel like you guys think it's a lot. It really isn't. Like 95% of our following is females. And like what I try to do is like, I'm not trying to relate to the guys. Like I'm trying to relate to the girls. You know what I mean? So I think like girls who are maybe like in bikinis, and again, I'll throw those out every once in a while, but
I don't think it's sometimes, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's as often as many people think it is. Like I really don't. Well, maybe guys that like you get excited about.
Correct. So the guys that you actually read and respond to. Gotcha.
I don't know, because like sometimes.
See, I was speaking in general, like even those, like the ones that you're like not excited about. Like how many
really
of those?
Not that many. Like I promise it's not that many. Like I know people think that we're getting DM'd galore and stuff like that, but we're really not. So
well, no, you make a good point. Like 95% of the followers are women. You said slide in, guys. She's an equestrian for Ralph Lauren. Kelley, it's great talking to you. Love to have you back on.
Yes.
Just can't wait to see all the beautiful things that you got to do in life.
And thank you for your honesty and your forwardness. Love it.
Yo, Kelley's always honest and has a thought to say, which is the best part.
Gets me in trouble sometimes, guys.
You almost got me in trouble. I ain't gonna do it.
All right.
I'm not gonna get in trouble with you. But thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Have a great one.
Bye, guys.
Wow, Mike, I absolutely loved Kelley on today. I thought she was very honest and refreshing. She didn't hold back anything. She pretty much answered anything we asked of her, and I thought she was a good sport. What do you think?
No, that's who Kelley is. Kelley's the same person off camera as she is on camera. She's very transparent, honest, will speak her feelings, whether you like them or not, and then be respectful even if you don't like them. That's Kelley, and I love it about her.
Love that. Love to get to know her a little bit better, and I hope all of you listeners out there like getting to know her a little bit better. And, of course, thank you guys for tuning into today's episode.
And we always love to hear your opinions, stories, and your insights. So please don't forget to like, comment, follow, and message us on social at Talking Out, B as in Bachelor, N as in Nation on IG. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and listen to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. And baby, don't DM me no more until you hit that subscribe. We love y'all.